Okay, so I thought I'd share some ideas on how to get a big sound out of the quad Cortex when you build presets. I'm not talking about smearing it all with chorus and flangers and, you know, the swoosh stuff, but rather just to use small practical effects. Okay, so here are a few tips for creating a big sounding preset without using any choruses or delays or anything like that. Because sometimes you want like a big massive guitar sound without any frills. This guitar has PAF Pro pickups, which are humbuckers, but they aren't that hot. It's like 8.7 kilo ohms or something like that. Sounds like that. Not very exciting, but then we add this room. Sounds like this. It's still not that exciting, but it's not exciting in a room. So it's I used the medium algorithm with the mix set to the devil's number. Yeah, cool. So nothing weird. Then I added a modulated reverb. I could have used which reverb I wanted to, but you know, I picked this one. Sounds like that. It's not that huge, and I set the mix quite low too, so decay is at 2.25 seconds. Sounds like that. And next I added the IR loader with a dual cab, because when we want a big sound, I find it sometimes useful to use two cabs. And they are both panned left and right, so it's as wide as I can get it. And I set the high pass quite sensible too, I think. I had to phase invert the two signals because otherwise I lost some bottom end. Let's see how it sounds without that. Yeah, sounds, you know, if you phase invert two things, it shouldn't make a difference, but it did when I did this before, so I'm gonna keep that as it is. So there, that's where we're at the moment. And next up, I added an amp to the whole thing. It's always good to have an amp, I think. I could have used a lot of amps, but I wanted something that wasn't too hot. Sounds like that. Yeah, I added some bass, not a lot, because yeah, I'm gonna scoop out the bass later on. I also scooped the mids, which is not something that I commonly do, but I had to do this for this one because I felt that the mids were a bit too pronounced. And next thing, I added a green overdrive, which it takes away a lot of the bass. Sounds like that. I added this splitter, which splits the signal and routes it to the next row. So they're gonna be together at the end, but you know, I'm gonna split it. Sounds strange now, but I added a cab, which is just a 112, which I panned fully, and then added a parametric EQ, which I scooped in the mids too. A lot of scooping. Sounds like that. I also added a spring reverb to this and a compressor to like squash it a bit. It gets a bit more noisy, but it's fine, I think. The last two things that I did was, if you want to, you could always add a vibrato to the whole mix. If we want to like get it huge and cheat a bit, I could add a delay at the end, like let's take a tape delay, stereo, and then I add a modulation, a vibrato, a really slow vibrato. But this is cheating. Yeah, you can hear the delay there. I'm not really feeling it, so I'm gonna remove that. So there's my way of doing a big sound. That's how I approach this. Of course, there are millions of ways of getting the same results, I guess. I use the quad Cortex, but you could use any other modeler, I guess. And I think one thing to consider is what do you want the sound for? If it's just to like sit and play in headphones or just by yourself, then this sort of sound could be a really cool thing. But if you're fitting into like a big setting, lots of instruments, then this type of sound just won't cut it, because it's too big, it's too you need something more distinct for yeah. So it's not a go-to for all situations sort of sound, but for this sort of stuff, you know, trios and solo stuff, it works for me. Yeah, so just let me know if there's anything you think I'm, you know, way off, or if it was mildly interesting, or you know, something that you would want me to address or anything. So yeah.